So welcome to another episode of the SOHO Cinema Club, and this episode's slightly different. We're going to actually be looking at a very, very, very old film. We're going to be looking at it. It's on film. It's on Super 8. Originally, it was shot on
Edison stock.
Edison stock. So what would that? Would it be 16, 8? Super
Technically, like
35?
Technically 35 or 16.
Okay, but how old is the film?
The film is from 1903. This film is over 100 years old. It's about 110 now.
Okay, so anyhow, we're going to be watching that. My name is
21.
Miles.
Oh, 121. It's 121.
So we're here and we're going to be watching a very, very, very old film. But before we get into that, my name is Miles Flanagan. I'm the owner-operator of the SOHO Cine Club, and we're here. We're all ready to watch this film, and with me I have my good friend
Jared the Bandit Carlson,
Sean Ponyboy Sardi.
Yes, and my good self. So Sean, what are we actually going to be watching? We're going to be projecting it on Super 8 on the big screen. So what are we going to be seeing?
We're going to be seeing The Great Train Robbery, most notably as one of the first. Technically,
is that the one with Sean Connery and Donald Sutherland from 1978?
Sir, can you possibly explain why you went to such incredible lengths to commit this astounding crime? I wanted the money. The Great Train Robbery, starring Sean Connery, the greatest scoundrel hero who ever lived.
No. This is the original from 1903. Over 100 years ago now. And obviously no one who made the film is alive.
What genre would you say this is?
It's a Western.
And is this what makes this special?
It's one of the first feature films, I'd say, with like a plot at the time. And it's also notably like one of the first Westerns to really stick around, I think.
And probably one of the first action movies, as we would see it.
It's a very simple story, beginning, middle, and end, but it's important. I think everyone should see.
We've loaded it up onto the projector, and we're going to start watching it. We'll just switch the projector on, and off we go. Okay, we've just finished watching
The Great Train Robbery
from year
1903.
And who directed it?
Edwin S. Porter.
Oh, okay. And yeah, it was really good.
For one of the first films in America, at least, it's really good.
The first sort of action story.
It's the first of its kind to show like films could be more than just like the train coming to the station or women dancing.
It's the first film to show, really, wasn't it, sort of like narrative and cuts as opposed to we're just going to film something in front of us.
Yeah.
Like people walking, people kissing, people doing something. And Jared shaking his head.
No.
What did you think of it?
It actually wasn't innovative for its time. People were already doing that, but it was very popular, and that's why it's
remembered.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was just because it's super popular because of the action and stuff. But there were already films that were, you had camera moving, mad effects.
Because we were watching it, and I was saying we were in, the camera's inside the train carriage, and you can see the landscape going by because they've got like the doors open. And I was like, are they filming it in a carriage? But it's so rock steady. No, they couldn't have been. Yeah. They couldn't have been lighting it like that if it was moving. And then we looked at it again, and you were saying, Jared, that it was obviously superimposed.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of double exposures.
You could see at the very top of the doorway, sometimes the light between the trees would appear on the inside of the doorway.
But there was a lot of, interesting cinematic trickery. I enjoyed it a lot, and I enjoyed seeing things like there were little fight sequences on top of a moving train.
A guy got pistol whipped and turned into a dummy.
And was very quick.
Oh no, he was hit with a coal brick.
That's right.
He was hit with a coal brick, yeah.
And then he was just flung off the train as a dummy.
I also like too, you can tell when they cut because it's like a minute later, because the train keeps moving.
Yeah.
They don't.
You can't stop a train that fast.
No, you can't. It's really hard to. But it's kind of commendable in a funny way.
So, okay, this was what year again?
1903.
1903. So, What other films then? Jared, you were saying there were other films at the time that were doing narrative, but they weren't doing. Is this the first action movie, or not even that?
Oh, it was the same director who had been doing stuff like he did a 1902 adaptation of Jack and the Beanstalk, kind of imitating Méliès.
Yeah, how do you pronounce that?
Méliès.
Méliès?
Méliès.
Are you sure about that?
No.
Yeah.
Georges Méliès.
Oh, so George Méliès, or how you pronounce it?
George Méliès.
No!
Georges Méliès.
Like he's Rocket to the Moon or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, that's like
Moon.
a narrative, special effects heavy.
But when was that? Was that?
That was...
Wasn't it 1906?
Because we screened. Do you remember we screened one of his films?
The Devil?
It was one that went under the water, didn't it?
Yeah.
It wasn't the devil one.
1902.
1902. So this really wasn't he was super sophisticated. He was doing everything.
But this was American, though.
Yeah.
And for like...
And more this was realistic as opposed to fantasy. So it was... And this was... his the ones that I've seen Méliès films are very theatrical in terms of the presentation.
They're very much like, this is a thief.
This director also did Life of an American Fireman. If you're familiar with that.
Film.
Right.
Where the fireman goes up the ladder, rescues the girl, goes back down.
Because you were cutting from interiors, exteriors.
Yeah.
So I would say, this is a different...
So I would say this director is actually more influential, but this is the film that he's remembered for, and so it has this great reputation. There's a cat on me.
Yeah, I'm just pushing him off the chair so he doesn't tear anything.
And he's oh my god, look at him go.
Okay, so it certainly isn't the first. It certainly isn't the first film of its kind, obviously, but it's still an important film.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. And what about that shot at the end where the cowboy close up of him, and he points the pistol directly at camera and then shoots.
Yeah, that must have been crazy for audiences to watch at the time.
Well, also, I can imagine the sound effect when he shot.
Yeah,
as well. That would have been really loud.
Yeah,
because people forget, you didn't just have like a keyboard player. They had percussion instruments and everything. They were doing all the sound effects as well as the music.
Yeah.
So you would have got the train sound effects, the doo everything.
You would have.
Look, I should have been doing that, shouldn't I? Doo doo, and you'd have had the pistol going off. But you were saying that's been influential.
It's been very influential. Most notably, Martin Scorsese's Goodfellas. This is a spoiler. At the very end of the film, after all is said and done, we see
Joe Pesci.
We see Joe Pesci. We see his character point a gun at the screen and shoot multiple times. And then Sid Vicious's My Way plays.
Interesting, because we'll be screening that at some point, won't we? Rock and Roll Swindle, Julian Temple's.
Oh yeah, we got to do that at some point.
Pistol movie, which I haven't seen since it came out. And I saw it in I'm sure it's closed now. It was a massive cinema just slightly outside of York in England. I remember, I think we were, oh my God. I mean, it was in a place where you wouldn't expect to have punks turning up. It was a cinema. Most of the time, it was a bingo hall.
Nice.
And they didn't screen it. For some reason, they didn't screen it at local Odeon, but they screened it there. It was just outside. I think it was still because it was still risque, that kind of thing. And we were the only people in a cinema that could, I think it held like over 1,000. And there was me, my brother, and one of his friends. There was 3 of us. And was it a great film? I remember sort of at times being bored, but I look forward to that.
Yeah.
But anyhow, so it's great. And we showed it. It was projected.
Yeah.
So we saw it pretty close to how it would have been seen.
At the time.
Yeah, projected on a beautiful screen in our beautiful SOHO cinema. Downtown LA. And we're going to hopefully screen more. And we have been screening more films. We have been screening a lot of films at the SOHO on Super 8. And we recently screened, might as well talk about whatever happened to Baby Jane.
Sister, sister, oh so fair. Why is there blood all over your hair?
Whatever happened to Baby Jane? Bette Davis is Jane Hudson. Joan Crawford is Blanche Hudson. But we must warn you, If you're long-standing fans of Miss Davis and Miss Crawford, this motion picture is quite unlike anything they have ever done. A motion picture definitely not for the squeamish.
Get away from me! Away from me!
Only when you see whatever happened to Baby Jane will you know. And the answer is total suspense.
This film we watched black and white, Baby Jane black and white.
And Straight Jacket.
And Straight Jacket black and white. And, older, not as old as this. Baby Jane's what, 62?
62 or 63, and then Straight Jacket 64. Oh, 62, and then 63 was Straight Jacket.
Yeah, that's right. What did you think of Whatever Happened to Baby Jane? Was that your first time seeing it?
No. I've seen it a few times. I watched it with my mom. That was the first time I watched it.
It's a great mother-son film.
What? Yeah, it's really great and not like weird. It's not the worst to see with a parent.
And the director, Robert Aldrich.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, seen as a man's man director, a manly director of action movies.
Hello, boy.
He's a man's director, a director of manly films like, westerns and war films like The Dirty Dozen. And then when he did this, he was it slightly changed his career a little bit. I mean, later on he did Whatever Happened to Aunt Alice with Geraldine Page.
It's funny, this film, Whatever Happened to Baby Jane,
always creeps me out, that film.
It still does. It's weird whenever people... I saw this in a cinema, not before the Soho Cinema Club. I saw it at another screening, and there was like a few people just laughing at certain bits, and I'm like, why are you laughing at this?
Because it's a real gothic, horror, creepy.
It's not played for laughs. It's deadly serious.
Oh yeah,
but it's not like deadly serious where you can laugh at it. It's deadly serious where it's like, how can you find comedy in this?
Yeah, and their relationship, it's so twisted.
It's abusive.
And just Bette Davis, the way she looked. I remember the first time I saw it was late night TV, and I think I saw it. I must have been about 6, something like that. Oh, I still got it in my memory. That image of her, and it just scared
the makeup.
Yeah, and also that whole opening sequence. Well, the sequence where there's the car accident and it's replayed at the end. I found that just so haunting, and then Bette Davis doing the number that she, as an adult, singing the song that she sang as a child.
I've Written a Letter to Daddy.
Oh my gosh,
that sequence I find both more tragic and pathetic.
Yeah,
it's so good.
I've written a letter to Daddy. His address is heaven above.
It's wonderful.
But that whole vaudevillian atmosphere can also lend itself to a real creepy horror if done right.
And what's funny too is Joan Crawford and Bette Davis, big stars, were like, yeah, we're gonna look like What If We Didn't Succeed? What if we were like the bottom team?
Oh my gosh, and Bette Davis?
Yeah. Bette Davis goes so low, and it's so...
Some of that lighting.
Tragic.
It's not beauty lighting.
No.
Absolutely.
And then we were reading before, I think you mentioned, didn't you? You.
Oh yeah, I remember this. Bette Davis decided for her character that, instead of taking off makeup, she would just keep adding more and more and more.
Yeah.
And add a dot for a blemish. And then her daughter, who actually appears in the film as the next door neighbor kid, she saw her makeup and she said, "Oh, mother, this time you've gone too far." And I could imagine at the time seeing that and being like, Bette Davis doing this?
But both of them, I mean, they were... I know there was that recent TV miniseries.
Yeah.
With Susan Sarandon and Jessica Lange. And it didn't really stick entirely to the true story. They sort of exaggerated things, their relationship.
The whole media at the time exaggerated their relationship because during the film, supposedly, from what I've seen, they got along professionally. They were like, this is a film, we're going to get this done, and it'll be okay.
But didn't Crawford ruin Betty's chance of getting the Oscar.
As soon as the film was starting to get really big, yes.
Yeah, because she should have won something for that.
Yeah.
She is so good. She gives it everything.
She deserved, at the very least, Best Supporting.
Yeah.
Best Supporting, because my God.
I know you mentioned a few other things. Can you remember, like when you were introducing the film at the SOHO?
Oh, supposedly it's based on... No, not that. I can't remember that one entirely. I'm trying to remember something.
Something.
Is it based on a book?
There is a book of Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. Yes, it was based on a book. I believe it was a bestseller before.
Actually, yeah, I remember in the credits it's based on a book. Yeah, and it's also who's the supporting actor in it?
Oh, the guy.
Yeah, Victor Bruno. Not Bruno, is it? It's Bruno.
Bruno.
Bueno.
Victor Bruno.
Bruno.
Victor
Buono.
Buono.
Victor Buono.
Okay, stars.
Victor Buono.
I never know how you pronounce it. You know when you're used to just reading someone's name?
Yeah.
And you never heard anybody say it?
I want to say Bruno.
Yeah, I was wanting to say Bruno, but he's great. And of course, you remember him from Batman.
Yeah.
Where he played, was it King Tut?
Nefertiti, you abandoned wench. How many times must I tell you queens consume nectar and ambrosia, not hot dogs?
Yeah. In the Adam West Batman series.
The Superior Batman.
Yeah, and this film spawned, what did they call it? Hagsploitation. Which I never really heard that before. I hadn't really. But it was that whole series of movies where they just basically brought back some old Hollywood actresses and had them in sort of horror movies.
Yeah.
Joan Fontaine did The Witches for Hammer.
Stephanie, where are you?
Yeah, like I say, Geraldine Page did Whatever Happened to Aunt Alice.
And Alice?
There was
Whoever slew Auntie Roo.
with Shelley Winters. Yeah, I love it, from the Poseidon Adventure.
I told you I was going to get everybody out of here, and damn it, I'm going to do it!
But there was a lot of these films. Actually, the thing that always surprised me, go on your phone, how old was Bette Davis? And this shows you like the sexism inherent in the system. No, but it was like actors would keep going as leading men, but actresses, I mean, I remember when the film came out, how old was Bette? Well, you just look at her age.
Yeah. But Joan Crawford, they don't know when.
Yeah, roughly though.
8. So then that was 62. So then carry the 1.
54?
Yeah.
Yeah, 54. She was 54 at the time.
You see, that's it. They were seen as absolute has-beens who were no longer attractive to anybody, so they had to play these caricatures. Just early 50s.
And they kill it. That's the thing. But they destroy it.
But yet, Clark Gable, other
Clark
actors,
Gable,
like you become James
Victor
Bond in
Niven.
your 40s, where you're gone as a female, as an actress, you're done.
You're done. Unless
you're into character acting.
Yeah.
Unless you're lucky, but you're still more of a character actress. But yeah, in the film, like if you're casting it now, you'd cast like 60-odd-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still relatively young. I remember that always shocked me. And you had some of the other films that followed in this Hagsploitation mold where the actresses were even younger. So just look at Sharon Stone, and she was only in was it 30s? Was it early 30s? She did Basic Instinct.
Casino too.
Yeah, and but that was the one. That was the last chance. And by the time she was approaching 40, that was it. Her career was pretty much over as a lead actress, which is kind of crazy when you think about it.
It's sad too that we still do this in the system.
Yeah,
like Tom Cruise still acts like he's in his 40s.
Yeah,
and it's like he's
60 something.
Yeah, he's getting there.
Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt still like the American
60.
sex time.
60.
Yeah. It's just nuts.
Yeah. George Clooney. Is he 60? He's got to be.
He's in his 70s.
No, he's not in his 70s. How old's George Clooney?
Oh, God. Come on.
Oh, come on. It's only 2 in the morning.
Come on. George Clooney. How old is this? Fuck. 63.
Yeah.
Okay.
George Clooney, 63. So anyhow,
George, why don't you fucking return my calls?
Yeah. All right. So let's wrap up by.
Wait. What should we talk? What about Straight Jacket? We didn't talk about Straight Jacket at all.
Do you want to talk about Straight Jacket?
I want to talk about it real quick.
Okay, and then of course at the Soho we also screened as our support feature. We screened the full length version of with full length feature of Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, but we had a support with Straight Jacket, but it was the abridged version.
Don't you go in that room!
Joan Crawford in a shattering screen portrayal.
So it was only it was 400 foot, so it was about 18 minutes.
And I think it was easier to digest. It's a William Castle film, and William Castle films, they always have the funny gimmick, and it's funny with this one, the gimmick was not that interesting, because it was you'd go to the theater, and instead of expecting a skeleton floating around, or you'd have to go to the coward corner if you were scared of the film.
The coward corner?
That was for Homicide.
Oh, wow.
Homicidal.
I like Homicide.
Yeah.
It's a fun one.
Instead, you just go in and they give you a Fomax with fake blood.
Oh.
And that's it. Maybe you'd wave it around, and maybe you were at a lucky theater and Joan Crawford would be there holding the axe, wearing her nice...
Oh, really? She would?
Certain theaters, yes.
Yeah.
But this film, it's interesting because this is a year after Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, and William Castle watched that film about 17 times while preparing the film just to be okay, this is how I want to do it. And you still see elements of Whatever Happened to Baby Jane because she's like that character almost, but with the anger of Bette Davis.
Right.
I would say.
I mean, I enjoyed the film. I don't know if you noticed. The sound wasn't the best on the edit, but it was a good edit, I thought.
It was a decent edit because it gave you it basically, as the film was going, there was a voiceover.
Now this is what I was going to say.
Oh.
Did you notice? In the narration jumped the fence, so to speak. It went where narration normally doesn't go in a narrative film. Did you notice?
I did kind of notice.
No,
that.
but did you notice what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You're saying yeah.
Sorry.
So what is it?
Well, sorry, can you repeat it?
Okay, so you didn't. The narration went somewhere that narration normally doesn't go when it's narrating a narrative fictional film.
Yeah.
It was when we saw George Kennedy.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you notice that?
I did. I forgot. It said, and George Kennedy.
Yeah, it was the name of the character. The narration at the start of the film, it was added on for the Super 8, so it would just fill in the gaps of what we were seeing.
It was explaining the story.
Yeah. So
and then George Kennedy.
So when George Kennedy appeared as this farmhand, it would say, and we've got Tony the farmhand, played here by actor George Kennedy. And it was what? In the narration, it was really kind of bizarre. It was a Columbia Super 8 release, and Columbia were famous or infamous for this narration. That's what they would do. We'd screened a Super 8 version of 200 foot from Seventh Voyage of Sinbad a while ago. Don't know if you remember that.
Oh yeah,
and that has narration in it. I don't really like the narration too much. Like when we screened All the Planet, the 8-minute versions, I thought they were fine without it. You didn't need it.
Yeah. And one last thing about Straight Jacket. The thing about it, it's 63, and it's so violent.
Oh, yes, it is. You actually see heads being chopped.
You see heads being chopped, blood squirting out.
Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah.
I forgot. It's pretty wild.
And the twist, spoiler warning right now.
Scooby-Doo twist.
Scooby-Doo twist.
And it would have been mine if it hadn't been for those meddling kids.
Oh. It's the daughter framing the mother.
With this amazing mask. How the hell did she get that?
That's so lifelike.
Yeah.
That she's able to open her mouth for seconds.
Yeah,
it's a crazy film through and through, and I think it's one of William Castle's more funny and enjoyable. Well, not funny because it's kind of tragic with the mother probably being locked up again.
Yeah, and you feel sorry for her.
You just feel sorry for her through and through.
Yeah.
The reason why she's locked up was the $6 Million Man.
Steve Austin, astronaut, a man barely alive.
And also, this is the first film starring role for Lee Majors.
Oh, what? Did we see him in the Super 8 version?
You did. He's in the bed. He's like in the bed asleep. Rock Hudson gave him. He was like, hey. He went to Rock Hudson like, hey, I need a job, and he was like, oh, well, William Castle's hiring, and he got him the job.
Oh wow, he must have been young there.
Really young, yeah.
Okay, so on that, we're going to say bye. Bye from me, Miles Flanagan.
Goodbye from Joan.
Goodbye from Sean, and have a great night.
Goodbye.
Bye.